Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for such an important and critical discussion on gun violence. Thank you, Arnie and team, for being able to bring the team here. Don't forget that this session and all sessions can be viewed on demand once they've wrapped. Now, I'm very excited to bring on a very special guest. Joining me now is the former COO, but now newly announced CEO of Cambium, Andersen Zantop, to talk about the Summit's Ladies Lunch, as well as that most recent announcement. So Ashley, you just came from the Ladies Lunch. Tell us a little bit more about how it went. I heard it went amazing, and tell us a little bit more about what the event means to you and the Cambium group.
Sure. It was an amazing event. It was an absolutely amazing event. And, it's an event that does hold a lot of meaning for Cambium. When we think about what Cambium's purpose is to ensure that every teacher and every student feels seen, valued, and supported. And we strive to live that purpose internally too, to make sure that every one of our team members feels seen, valued, and supported. And so one of the reasons that this event means so much to us is because it is a moment to honor women leaders in EdTech who are not only striving to improve access to the future for all with the businesses, the solutions, the technology that they bring to education, but also really set an example for how to cultivate a workplace that lives by those values too. So it was a really terrific event.
Yeah, definitely. I heard there was a lot of good crying, happy crying, inspired crying.
Yes.
And so as a leader of the space, I'd love to hear a little bit more about Cambium and you yourself, what you're personally most excited for this upcoming summit.
Sure. Well, there are a lot of really terrific speakers at the summit and so many important themes being discussed. But I think the big overall theme that as an EdTech community we have to focus on is how will we accelerate the academic outcomes for students and for the families who are supporting them based on where students are now as a result of the effects of the pandemic. And I think we do have to explore all of the themes that contribute to creating an accelerated environment for those academic outcomes so that all students do have an equitable access to the future.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's super in line with our entire summit theme around really, everyone who's here is on a mission to provide equal access to the future for all. And so I think definitely aligned with everything you've mentioned there. I'd love to really touch on the recent announcement and then feel very honored to be able to, be a part of this announcement live in ASU+GSV here as well. Tell us a little bit more about what happened, as well as, I guess, would love to hear a little bit more about your background, how you came to grow and become a woman leader at Cambium.
Well, thank you for asking about that, Claire. A couple of things. As we talked about Cambium's purpose earlier, part of the reason that purpose is so meaningful to me is because I actually started my early career as a classroom teacher and a collegiate coach. And I studied education models in the US and Scandinavia. And I come from a family of educators and academics and entrepreneurs. So everything that we do at Cambium really resonates with me personally as well as professionally. And, when I made the move from the classroom to industry, I was so impatient, the good kind of impatience to change the world, that I absolutely put my hand up for everything, absolutely everything, which meant really that ultimately, it was a lot of work, but I was able to achieve a number of really important operating milestones by the time I was in my mid-30s. So, I led startups and JVs and mature businesses, acquisitions, integrations, a take private. I served in CEO roles and board seat roles. And, I worked all over the world with really amazing people. And you believe me, I made a lot of mistakes and learned many valuable lessons, but also had a lot of success along the way. And, that has really afforded me an opportunity to have a deep appreciation and an understanding for what it takes to make a meaningful impact at scale in K-12, and also what it takes to live that purpose of impact internally, as well as externally. And bringing those two things together are so important to creating durable success.
Yeah.
So, I'm grateful for all of those opportunities that have ultimately brought me to Cambium. And also, I'm grateful, so grateful to retiring CEO John Campbell. John Campbell is a mentor, a friend, a tireless champion. The world would be a better place if everybody had a John Campbell in their corner. And so I'm very grateful for that. And I know I express that sentiment on behalf of so many people at Cambium.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I know John has been an amazing figure at Cambium, but we're also super excited to welcome you. I know even myself being able to see a woman CEO in your space running such an impactful company like Cambium, it's honestly, very inspiring. I'd love to hear, really quickly, if you have any, thoughts or advice for other, young women in our virtual audience and our live audience who are women pioneers in the space, EdTech CEOs, educators, superintendents, higher ed leaders, et cetera, you name it. Would love to hear kind of your advice for anyone trying to be a trailblazer in this space as well.
Yeah, I would absolutely share some. And I will say that some of the advice that I'm going to share is actually not just my own advice, but also some of the advice shared with me by some of the Power of Women Award winners this year. Not surprisingly, a lot of us have had common experiences,
Yeah.
so we've learned a lot of similar lessons along the way. Some of the advice that I would offer is this: keep trying. If you want something, don't take no for an answer. Keep trying.
Yeah.
You may not end up getting it the way that you thought you would get it, the way that you envisioned getting it, but if it's something that's meaningful to you and it aligns with your purpose, keep striving, keep trying. Also, be an ally to others. Jamie Candy, CEO of Edmentum, said this to me a few days ago, and we talked about it a little bit at the lunch today, and I couldn't agree with her more. Not only do you always have time to figure out how to get someone to their next step, which is something that Jamie shared with me, but I can tell you from my experience that being a mentor is not just about teaching, is not just about guiding, it's also about learning. And some of my most valuable lessons learned have come from mentoring others. So take the time to do that, because you never know what you're going to learn in the process of doing that and helping somebody else get a seat at the table that will help you in the next thing that you want to achieve. In order for a community to be a really rich community of support, that support has to go multiple different ways. We have to support one another. And that's true for all people.
Yeah, no, I love that. I personally benefited from, I think, education, or the education space has really, I think, emphasized, even on there's still more work to do, obviously, but I think being able to see leaders like you, like Jamie Candy, the Power of Women Award winners, Divya, et cetera, even Deborah Quazzo herself.
Exactly.
It's just, I think, so exciting to be in the midst of a space that has a recognition that there's so much change to be made and is striving towards that future. So I've loved chatting with you. Congratulations again. I'm sure all our virtual attendees are super excited to have been part of, I guess, this early announcement. And I'm going to quickly transition into our next session while we're still here. For our next segment, I want to chat about Your Voice, the missing link to oral communication. We'll showcase Roger Love. He actually was at the summit last year. He'll be here again, and he's a world-famous Hollywood voice coach. So excited to showcase him in a bit. And thank you again, Ashley, for a wonderful session. I learned so much, feeling inspired, excited to go trailblaze.
Thank you, Claire.
Yeah, thank you.